Hello, everybody. Let me turn that down so you can actually hear me. All right, so I hope everybody got something out of the little Q&A session I just did. Again, it was how to pin elbows, and concept follows through with knees. If you have a character taking a knee to the ground or leaning with their elbows. But anyways, on to part two. Part two being a continuation of last week's episode, my special Friday the 13th, since last Friday was Friday the 13th. And we're doing a Jason kill. Now I want to thank Gun Media for giving me the opportunity to use this. This is a free stream, just kind of reviewing animations and how I do things, and kind of how I helped animate this in particular kill on this game. And by free, I mean I'm saying please don't tip, and please don't subscribe, which is an odd thing for a Twitch streamer to say, because we want all the tips and subscriptions we can muster. But in order to be able to use these assets, they ask that I do not receive any money for them, and I am perfectly happy to not just do this for free, but because I'm doing it for the community. So here we go. Where did we leave off? So I got Jason here, got the counselor, and he's got this thing in his hand. He's got her, and he's like, yeah, there you go, and kicks her down. She's got a little twisty twist in her leg there. Is error in the retargeting of the motion capture. So where should we go from here? Well, let's first check out our characters and see where we left them. So female, you go select a body part, and she's got keys on her, so she's obviously has been edited. And Jason has also does have keys, so they both have keys. Okay, so I'm catching myself up to where I was last time. I think I want to do something with her head, though. It's a little too, I mean, she's just got this thing shoved down her throat. She shouldn't be like able to move her head around, right? This is one thing I do as an animator. I just watch the animations over and over again, and I think about what's going on and figure out my next steps. And is what I call this pass done and then move on? I'm not sure. Guess I should check to make sure everything is attaching, detaching correctly. So he's got his hand on her, around her throat. Now it looks like he's releasing at the right time. So I'm going to call whatever I'd done a pass. I'm just going to bake this down. Bake down Jason. So I'm going to plot the skeleton. And then plot to control rig. I'll do the same thing for the counselor. I will deal with her hand contact later. I think I'm gonna work on her animation first. I want to fix that leg. She has kind of a bad leg. Right there. That's where her bad leg is. Turn off some of that IK. Let's go find where that... Oh, there's the curve. I found it. I'm going to see what happens if I just cut that out. Yeah, much better. I'm going to call that a pass. I'm going to bake to skeleton, bake to control rig. I'm going to work on some of her posing, because posing is very important. And it's a good thing I have this screen here, because every time I say posing, I could be popping my P's quite profusely, and we don't want that to happen. All right, base. See base animation. Go to animation layer. I think she's supposed to be on her knee. The actress, I believe, was on a crash mat. So. So I'll have to fix that. So I'm going to go into full body mode here, and I'm just going to set a key there. And then this is where she's probably down on her knees, so I will... that was probably putting her down too low. I think when he lets go, that's where I'll drop her. Like maybe he's holding her up until he releases her. So I'll move my 0 key to that frame. Then he lets go. She just kind of like comes down to her knee. You know what I need to do? I need to turn floor contacts on. I'm doing this the hard way to get her foot to go down. So modifiers, floor contacts, feet floor contacts. Let's see. Turn that on. Anytime I'm not sure about something, I'll 0 out the key. So I'm back on the original animation. And let's see what happened to her hips. By dropping her hips down here, when she lands here, she's no longer floating over the floor, but she is kind of underneath the floor a little bit. So I got to fix that. So again, when in doubt, 0 it out. Right there. So there we go. That's about where the crash mat was when they captured the motion. So we're just going to drop her down. Full body. Oh, unpin everything first. Unpinning helps. So there you go. So let's see what's going on here now. Let's see how Jason kills her. And then she goes sliding across the floor. Then she kind of goes up, right? So I gotta go to where she stops and adjust her pose. Again, I'll just zero everything out and then relay her back down. Just to make sure I don't have anything weird going on. The actress was a very athletic person, and so she has a very interesting physiology to her, the way she carries herself with her legs and everything. She has this very like bowed out posture to her legs, and you see it a lot with gymnasts. A lot of times when somebody does something or they're proficient at something, especially a sport like weightlifting or gymnastics, they carry themselves in a very specific way, like ballet, and just part of their, just the way they move, just the way they locomote. Let's see, her legs really flail out. It's like, whoa. Okay, so I'm gonna have to tone that down, but I think I'll tone that down in the next pass. I think I just need to concentrate on making sure her hips and her chest are on the ground. Then she dies. That's good. Then she rolls over. Might need a little adjustment here, mainly with her chest. And then she dies. All right. It's really funny is when she lands on the ground and she finishes moving, you can almost see how the crash mat that the actress was on, how it was pushing up on her limbs. So the core of her body, her torso, her chest are all heavy, right? They're heavier than her arms and her legs. So that part will sink in, but her arms and legs don't. Not as much as her torso, the core of her body. So a lot of times you'll have this kind of look when somebody's laying on a crash mat. And then as an animator, you have to go in and you have to take it all out. All right, so I think that's looking good. I'm going to call that a pass. Or an iteration. At my work, we don't like to use the word pass for some reason, so we all iterate our animations until they're done. I think the next thing I'm going to work on is I'm going to work on the legs. So because everything's baked down, I'm going to try turning off pull on both the rotation and translation. I'm going to see if I can fix these legs where they kind of just fly apart. By the way, she's very flexible. If you go back and watch the other kill I did where she's getting her head smashed into a gravestone and then her back stomped on, she practically bends herself in half before I ever edited the motion capture to push it to its extreme. She's like a very limber individual. I'm going to do one leg at a time. So I got this leg. I'm going to set go to body part mode. I'm going to set a key. And then I like it right there. Oh, right there. Set a key. I'm going to go to where where this one flails out the farthest. And I think I'm going to just rotate this up and in and see what it looks like. Experimentation. I think it's super important to experiment. Try something out. Worst thing that I mean, you're on an animation layer. Worst thing that happens is you delete that animation layer and try again, right? Ooh, that doesn't look good. Doink. Just like dragging her foot. Let me turn off that. There it goes. That's why. The floor contacts was keeping her foot from going through the floor, but is causing a weird issue on her ankle. Just pull it up like that. Okay, that's cool. It feels like she's kind of hitting her foot against the floor a little bit now. I think I'll compress it in. I'm fighting the motion capture. You can see the fighting happening, and that's not good. So my these edits are not the best. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the offset keys I created. I'm going to try a different strategy. I just don't want them to flail out flail out so much. Let me think about this. Maybe I do want to turn on turn that on. Let's see how this looks. It's better. I think leaving IK on the foot was the way to go. Maybe I guess I shouldn't have turned it off. A lot of times when you your feet come off the ground, it's a lot like they're a lot like your hands, right? You don't leave IK on your hands all the time, so because they're not in contact with anything. So the feet are in contact with things a lot because they're feet and you're standing and you're running and whatever. Usually it's left on until you're doing something like swinging on monkey bars or jumping or something, and then where you turn it off. So fix the feet here a little bit. Again, it's that crash mat that was pushing up on her ankle. So I turned off rotational pinning, left on translational pinning on her foot. Now I can just rotate her leg up like this, much easier. Still a brutal kill. All right. And yoink. Ouch. All right, now I like that. So her leg is not going out crazy like it was before, which was in this area. So let's look at it before and after. Here's an after of what her left leg is doing. If I turn off that layer, you can see what the before was. That's the before. And this is the after. I like that a little bit more. All right, call that a pass. Now I can plot down, or I can go move on to the next leg. I think we can go ahead and move on to the next leg without plotting. I'll just do them both in one pass. So I'm going to take care of some of this pinning. All right, I learned my lesson from the other leg. I set my 0 key there and there. I'm going to go to the extreme, which is there-ish. Your foot goes a little crazy, doesn't it? Let's go see what the curves look like in that foot. Got rotation. Yeah, so she got some weirdness going on in that foot. So let's cut some of that out. Yeah, that's pretty weird. All right, so let's get rid of some of that. And get rid of some of that. Her foot wants to spin all the way around. So now I'll have to fix that, which is fine. So let's fix that. All right, so it's good. It's good here. Then it kind of does that breaky thing. Spin that around. Fix the posing of the leg. There we go. I think I'm going to kick that foot up a little bit more right there. Comes way down, which is horrible. So I'm going to hit a 0 key. Again, one of the things that I'm trying to get rid of is the actress, when she fell down, she actually fell on a crash mat. So it was all spongy and up off the ground, up off the actual 0 ground plane. So it's getting rid of all that sponginess and getting her body to actually hit the ground plane. I'm getting there. And here comes Jason with the attack. And shove and kick. All I have to say is ouchie. Looks like it hurts. When I was doing all these animations, and by all I mean the ones that I didn't do all the animations in the game. I did a small set of Jason kills for the male and female counselors, but the ones that I did do while I was doing all those animations, man, it was hard. I had to like take a break. There's so many brutal kills in that game. Such a great game too, man. I tell you, Ilphonic and Gun Media really did a great job. I just had a tremendous amount of fun. The anxiety that they figured out how to build in this game was just great. So if you haven't played Friday the 13th, I highly recommend picking up a copy and giving it a go. And maybe you'll see this animation here, which is one I did way back when for the game was first released. Hold on a second. Just gotta check on something. I'll let this play while I check on something. All right. That'll work. Okay. Back to this. What's next? I think her head is next. So the rule of thumb is when you're animating, you want to start in your core and you want to work. Typically, you want to work down and out. And what do I mean by down and out? You want to work your hips. That's the core. That's your center of mass. That's what's moving around, right? And then I say down because generally speaking, the next thing you need to work on are the feet because they're in contact with the ground. So I'm working down, and then out. What do I mean by out? I mean out the arms and neck and head and that sort of thing. So I did the core, hips, chest. Made sure that she wasn't coming in contact with the ground. Okay. Then I worked down. I worked on her feet. Made sure that her legs weren't, splaying too far out and looking too awkward. And now I'm going to work out. So I'm going to start with her neck. I'm going to call this a pass, though. So I'm going to go ahead and plot her down, or Baker. Plot skeleton. And plot back to control rig. All right, so she's going to get stabbed in the mouth like that. And that is when her head is going to lock into place. So I'm going to turn off the IK for her control node, and I'm going to turn on I'm going to create an auxiliary effector for her head. Well, actually, no, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I won't. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just lock her head into place by deleting keys. Let's try that. That sounds like an exciting plan. So I'm going to actually turn on translation and rotation. See, I think about things, right? So as I go, I think and I change my mind and I ponder and I think about how to do things as I'm doing the things I'm doing. So right there, that's where her head gets locked into place initially. I'm just going to delete those keys that follow. And I'm going to delete all these keys because now her head is going to be locked into place. But her neck is not locked into place, so that's a problem. So I can't just do IK on her head. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to grab her neck and do the same thing. All right. So now he should shove it in and shomp. And something is moving her head. What is that? Oh, I wonder if there's an animation key on the animation layer. No? Maybe I didn't grab all the keys. Oh, I didn't grab all the keys. That's why her head's still moving. All right, let's get this. Wait. Oh. I grab the wrong one? Okay, so that was my mistake. I grabbed the wrong character. Let me undo that a few times. This is why I have 50 levels of undo. I grabbed Jason. Silly me. Gotta grab the counselor for this to work. Alright. Get rid of those keys. Man, I'm like, why is this not working? I know I'm deleting the keys. I'm just deleting the wrong keys. It's late. Did I mention I was doing a mocap shoot today? It's quite stressful. We're working on a commercial, so... Oh, that looks good. Okay, here we go. So he's like, shunk. Oh, and then she's got one more motion. It's when he jams it down all the way. So, and then... Right there. So this is where I'm going to hand key. Right there. What's Motionbuilder? I've never got to use it in school. Well, Motionbuilder is a animation software. It's not like Maya or 3D Max or some of these other programs. It's specifically designed for animating and specifically dealing with motion capture. It's industry standard. I mean, from Avatar to Infinity War to pretty much most video games out there, Motionbuilder is kind of the standard program to use, especially in the game industry, because you have to produce so many animations that are very specific and technical and so fast that Motionbuilder is able to handle that volume. So if you're into motion editing and you're into like character animating, I highly recommend it. Back in the day, when I was in school, I remember reading a forum, and you know, and the forums always pop up. What's better? Is Maya better? Is Max better? Is light? Back in my day, is Lightwave better? And there's always that, no, Lightwave's better because of this, and other people like, you know, Maya's better because of this. And what it comes down to is you can't have a single tool in your toolbox, because if the only tool you have is a hammer, then soon everything looks like a nail, right? And Motionbuilder is basically the tool you want to use for animating, because somebody came into that conversation and says, hey, listen, you want to model, go do it in 3D Studio Max. If you want to rig and render, probably Maya. But if you want to do animation, use Motionbuilder. And that kind of stuck with me. And I didn't know anything about Motionbuilder at the time, but somehow that stuck with me. And then when I did start using Motionbuilder in my professional career, I was like, oh yeah, this is what that person was talking about. No, actually, if you have to know the 12 principles of animation in order to edit motion capture. It's like super, super important. I mean, you need to know anticipation, overlap, follow through, arcs, curves, framing your shot, secondary motion. Wait, did I repeat secondary motion? I have to count on my fingers. Squash and stretch and overlap and follow through. And I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Very important to know the 12 principles of animation. Everything, all that applies here. So anyways, yeah, is it Jallo 9? Yeah, Jallo. Go back and watch some of my other tutorials if they're not on Twitch, because things get taken down after like so many days. Click that YouTube link and go check out my other tutorials, and you can see right from the very beginning where I do an introduction to Motionbuilder and talk about what all the buttons do. and kind of how it functions and the concept and principle behind it. And then I get in and I show how to build and rig a character. I should say building rig a character. I go into Maya and say, here's a character with a skeleton, and this is how you get him into Motion Builder, and this is how you build a control rig. So anyway, Pixar and DreamWorks only use Maya. I'm not quite sure what DreamWorks uses. I believe Pixar uses their own proprietary software called Marionette. At least, I don't know. I honestly haven't looked into it in years, but I want to say Pixar uses Marionette. It's their own proprietary software, and I believe there's a lot of Maya in it. Although I don't know, maybe things have changed since last I investigated. But I will tell you, Digital Domain, ILM, Lightstorm, all these other big studios doing movies like Avatar, The Matrix. What else? They all the Avengers, all those movies. When it comes to motion capture, they all pretty much use, at least in the initial phases, they use Motion Builder. Eventually, at some point, a lot of times, this stuff gets exported out to Maya, and they'll start using Maya or some other software. But typically, when you're dealing with motion capture, things generally start in Motion Builder. Oh yeah, that's right. They use RenderMan. They developed and wrote themselves. So hey, that's interesting. It's interesting they moved over to Maya. I remember seeing Marionette way back in the day. Keep in mind, it's been probably like 10 years since I've looked at anything behind the scenes of anything Pixar related. And Marionette, man, that looked too complicated for me. It's like you're like sliding little sliders to get your elbow to move up and down and stuff. So I think Maya definitely has a better, or my opinion at that time, had a better interface. Keep in mind, I'm an old man, so I've been in the industry a while. But really, if you know one software, you know them all. All right, where was I? I was getting ready to make her head break here. All right, so this is where some keyframing comes in. I want to go right to that frame where he's getting ready to jam it in there. Right there. I'm going to set a key. I'm going to go to the end of the motion. And rotate her head up and over. It's right there. Ouch. And if you want to pinch in, you can always like pinch in to whatever you're working on. Well, I'm gonna have to say, don't worry about school not teaching you. Let me tell you a story. So, I went to college I started in 1990, late 1995. Yeah. God, it's a long time ago. I started college in 1995, and we used a program called Infinity, and it was our introduction into 3D at the time. This is back when I think this is before Maya was Maya. It was Alias Wavefront. It's a long time ago. And then we were real excited because Cinema 4D XL came on the scene, and our school switched over to that. So I started learning that. And then the time came for me to go out and start getting some work, start getting jobs. And believe it or not, at that time, this is, we're now talking like late 90s, like 98, 99. I couldn't get work because I didn't know Lightwave. So what I did was I bought a student version of Lightwave. Cost me like $500 at the time or something like that. And as a struggling student, man, that was a lot of money. $500 was a lot of money. But I got the hardware key. I got Lightwave. I went to Barnes and Noble. I bought books. There's a couple of 3D guys back in the day who wrote a bunch of really, really good Lightwave books. Got those, and I started reading and I started studying. And this is like, we're talking pre-YouTube here. So there wasn't like just information out. There was no Twitch, there was no YouTube. There wasn't just information out there for me to learn how to do Lightwave. So all I had were these books, and I started working. And my very first job that I ended up landing in the industry was on the Jimmy Neutron TV series. Jimmy Neutron the movie was done all in Lightwave. And when they went to the TV series, they switched over to Maya for animation because Maya's definitely more friendly for doing character animation. But they still did all their rendering in Lightwave. I was a storyboard artist, so I didn't really get a chance to really touch a 3D package, but that was my first introduction into the industry. Right after that, when the contract ended, I went and started working at a small post-production house called CAT. Stood for Computer Animated Technology. And they were a Lightwave house. And because I knew Lightwave, and they needed an animator, I just slotted right in. And that was my first like official, like, I'm behind the computer, I'm rigging and modeling and animating and doing layout and, you know, having to run a render angle, run the render farm and all that fun stuff. Light. And I learned a whole lot. So there's a lot that can be said by picking, going and finding a book. Now, Motionbuilder does not have a lot of information out there. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing these tutorials, is so that people, maybe have a little, head start. I was fortunate enough, when I was at 3D Realms, I was working on Duke Nukem Forever. We were looking at the project, and we were trying to figure out how we can accomplish what we need to accomplish to ship the game. And one of the animators was like, well, we should do it in Motionbuilder. We can do all the retargeting we need to do. And he pretty much taught me Motionbuilder on the job. And I've been learning it ever since. So that was like 2006, 2007 when which was my very first official introduction into Motionbuilder and motion editing and all that. Prior to that, I was all hand key. I was like, motion capture is the devil's rotoscope, rah, rah, rah. You're not a real animator. But I don't know. I got to the point now where I'm like, no, man, this is motion capture is cool. It's fun. It's fun to be on set. It's fun to capture the motion. It's fun to edit the motion. And then it definitely is a skill like any other skill. I mean, you have guys who are really good at motion editing, and you have guys that are not good at motion editing, and the guys who are not good at it, I don't know what it is. Maybe they never did traditional animation, so they don't understand, or they don't understand the 12 principles of animation. It all applies. Her head kind of throws back into the ground, doesn't it? Let's go fix that with her chest. She goes whack like that. So set a key here, and right there. Set another key where I lift her up a little bit. But yeah, go check out my YouTube. Every video that I've ever streamed here on Twitch, I post up there. I do sculpt as well, so you'll have to like weed through all the sculpting videos. And by sculpt, I mean like traditional sculpture, not like digital sculpture. see, how did I get the courage to send in my resume to jobs? I'm really self-conscious about my work and keep on working on my demo, but never think it's good enough, so just work on it. I haven't stopped working on it for the past year at college. I'm telling you, it is very intimidating to put yourself out there because as artists, as animators, that's our heart and soul, right? That's all of our passion is on that demo reel, and we're so proud of the work we do, or we're so excited. We want to make people happy and we want them to like it, and it's really tough. So I have advice. And by the way, I want to say, oh, shoot, I can't remember the developer who worked in the who developed the game Oddworld. I sent my demo reel into them way back in the day, and by demo reel I mean a VHS tape. That was a 5-minute VHS tape with my demo reel with all my information, because back in the day, like I said, there were like people didn't just have websites and have YouTube and couldn't get your videos out there, and so you sent it out on VHS tape. They were really nice, and they said, "Hey, good work, little buddy, but we're just not looking for you right now." And I'm like, "Oh man, this sucks." I'm gonna go try harder. You just got to do it. It's tough, but you have to do it. And if you want a strong demo reel, this is what you do. And this has to do with psychology. You want to take what you feel is your very strongest piece, your two strongest pieces. You put them at the very beginning, at the very end of your reel. Start off strong, end strong. Don't try not to put mediocre stuff in the middle. I'd rather see a couple of really strong animations than a bunch of mediocre and weak animations. Try to keep your demo reel under a couple minutes. Sometimes I'm an animation lead at my company. I look at demo reels. I don't have a lot of time to just sit there and watch a 5-minute amazing reel with all this, awesomeness. At some point I go next. So straight to the point. Here I am. Here's my information. Strong piece, a couple pieces that you like, that you feel is good, and then a really strong piece. And then end it with your information. Say, name, number, contact info, software used. If you're working on a class project where you're working with a lot of other people, make sure you say, in this project, I did this character and that character and that object there. And I did the lighting, or whatever it is that you worked on as part of your class project. So you apply. Oh, that's right. Hey, Travdar, how's it going? None of my schoolwork is in my demo reel. That's okay. You don't have to have schoolwork. I mean, that's one of the toughest things is when you're first getting started, is to have content. I mean, for an animator, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time and energy and effort to create content. And a lot of times as an animator, you just don't have access to cool characters and cool rigs. Although nowadays there's a lot of free runs. And I bet Travdar has really cool links he could probably post of like where you can get free rigs. It comes back down to try whatever you've worked on. Don't take credit for somebody else's work, I guess is what I'm kind of getting at, because I've seen people do that. Don't take credit for other people's work. And if you share a scene with somebody, call out your shots or what you did on it. Put your strongest piece at the beginning, your next strongest one at the end, and then one or two really good animations right in the middle. And you're probably golden. And yeah, you'll probably have to send it out to a bunch of studios. Go to their website, see what they're hiring for. Hopefully their job boards are up to date, and just send it in. I know I've sent my stuff into Valve 2 or 3 times, and I always get rejected. So don't feel bad. 10 years in the industry, and I was still getting rejected from studios. In fact, I think Epic ghosted me. I was like in the middle of interviewing and stuff, and I just never heard back from them. Yeah, that's some. Click on that link Travadar put in there. It's a really great link. Also, I'm thinking about doing a tutorial session too. So if you have a tutorial and you'd like me to, or not tutorial, I'm sorry, or a demo reel. I'm thinking of doing a demo reel version stream as well. So people can sit at demo reels and I can give constructive criticism on what I'm seeing and give feedback, and hopefully demo reels come back and we can review them again and kind of like help people work on their reels. A cover letter stream, sure. I can try that. It's been a while since I've done a cover letter, but yeah, can do that. I'm going to also recommend anytime you apply to a studio, research what they've done, what they're working on if it's out there, and try to just get as much information. When I was trying to get a job at Epic, man, I bought every Gear of War game, even though I was out of work and I didn't know where my next paycheck was coming from. I went and I bought all those games, and I was like, I'm gonna play these all the way through and learn everything about them. All right, so where were we? I got her getting knocked down here. What's that with aha ha ha? Why didn't you just rip from Blockbuster? Did I miss something? Been over a year. Well, yeah, don't worry, keep it up. You'll eventually land something. Oh, oh, couldn't I just rent them? Was Blockbuster still around when I was trying to go for Epic? I don't think it was. I think Blockbuster had closed down. I think there's Redbox, but those are kind of like limited in the games that you could rent. So I don't know. I just bought them. Oh, what the hell? Oh. All right, so where were we? All right, so I did a little adjustment to the spine. By the way, before I end the stream tonight, I'll go open up the original edit that I did of this animation. We can see what the one that I actually spend time on, where I'm like concentrating. Yes, these characters are motion capture. In fact, I wonder if I don't know if I still have them in here. I have the motion capture skeletons up here, there, and here. I don't think I have any constraints turned on here. I did the graveyard kill. Here's the graveyard kill I did in my other stream. So now I threw this one in here. Now I'm doing this one. By the way, that's what this box is for. I should probably like hide that or something. All right, so in my original animation that I worked on, I actually had my character, she reached up and she actually grabbed the thing sticking out of her face and and held on to it. I think it was her, was it her left hand or right hand I had grab it? I can't remember. I want to say it was her right hand. It just seems like the more natural hand to grab it. So, because right there it's like grab. So let's do that. Let's make her grab it. So I'm going to set an offset key. I'm going to set a bookmark key. And I'm going to have her grab this stick and hold on to it, because I think that's just brutal. Yeah, so she's going to grab right there. So what I did was I set an offset key, so now our hand's going to come over and grab it. And this is where I'm going to create an auxiliary effector for her hand. I'm going to take that auxiliary effector and I'm going to parent it. I'm going to save my Motionbuilder file in case it crashes. Oh, I hate it when Motionbuilder crashes. Oh, it's not parent. Let me use my mouse. Parent. There we go. I use a tablet or a stylus when I animate. That's kind of just what I do. All right, so right there, get her to hold on to this. And I'm going to key that on. And I'm going to come away. I'm going to go back a frame and key it off. Right there. Oh yeah, Blender crashes the least. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I tell ya. Motionbuilder gets tired. I think there might be a memory leak. So if you start see things going weird, and it happens in Autodesk as well, like or I'm sorry, it happens in 3D Studio Max as well. When things start going a little wonky, it's time to save and just close the program and reopen it back up, and things start working fine again. All right, so she grabs a hold of that, like that. Now she's like trying to get it out, but she can't. Oh god, it's brutal. Her elbow's a little far back. I think I'll rotate that around. If you want to know in Motionbuilder Controls, go watch. I've got a tutorial specifically on the control rig and kind of pinning and the concept behind it. Once you kind of learn how everything works together, man, it's like super powerful. Yeah, there's a joke we have in our studio about these companies that make programs crash so much. Our joke is they're trying to get rid of Motionbuilder and shove everything inside Maya. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and wrap her fingers around there. Yeah, I was I mean, technically technically right before I got my first job as a 3D animator artist person, I was a storyboard artist. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, I worked at DNA Productions, which did the Jimmy Neutron TV series, and they were a real great group of guys and gals there. I'm just super talented and fun, and it's a fun project to work on. But my heart was more on the 3D. I really want to get in the computer. I mean, that's what I went to school for, right? Before that, I was an illustrator, and I did a ton of illustrating for about 7 years and put myself through college. I actually walked away from college with 0 student debt, believe it or not, and it was because just working. I didn't really have a social life. I didn't go out and party. I sat in front of the computer at home. My friends all thought I was boring because I'd never go out. And then I got my first job at DNA, and now I'm going out and I've got money, and my friends are like, "What? Brian's coming out with us? No way!" And like, yeah, working Brian with money is a lot more fun than poor starving Brian. Not that I was making a lot of money at the time, but for me at the time, it was a lot of money. Actually, it's probably a lot of money for me now, man. What was that? I was making. How much was I making? I want to say I was making. Oh shoot! How much was I making a script? I was making like, was it 9,000 a script? Or was it 6,000? God, it's been a long time. We're talking like 2002, 2000. Yeah, it's 2002. I want to say. Man. And so people were scheduled a certain period of time. Like they had X amount of time to finish a script. And I was a fast artist. And being a caricature artist at a theme park and having to draw like 12-hour days, 10, 12-hour days, 5 days a week, all summer long, and weekends, and doing parties and working state fairs and all that kind of stuff that I did. You only get paid if you draw and you draw and you sell things, right? So it behooves you to be fast, good, because you don't want the drawings rejected, but fast. So I was probably one of the faster of the artists there. I want to say typically they would give you about 2 months. No, a month and a half. 6 weeks. Typically they say, we want this done in 6 weeks. And I would probably do a script in about 3 weeks. Minus, them coming back later with a couple of extra changes that they needed. But keep in mind, it was a contract job. So yeah, 9,000 sounds like a lot, but you pay double taxes when you're a contract artist, and you pay for your own healthcare, dentists, and everything associated with it. So after you subtract all that from how much you got paid, it's not $9,000. I'll tell you that much. It's a lot less. It helped pay off student debt. It paid off, helped me pay off a car. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I felt like that was a lot back then. I know I wasn't the highest paid. I can tell you that much. But I didn't feel, I tell you, when I got my first paycheck, I just looked at it and go, this can't be right. They're going to take this money away from me at any time. They're going to say, you know what, we want our money back. That's what I felt like. My first paycheck. Oh, man. All right, so I'm going to grab it right there. I'm going to do a little twisting on this as well. So I've got this node in her chest right here. I'm going to have her twist it back and forth to kind of make that arm feel a little bit better. So twist this way, that way. Yeah, California's expensive. LA's expensive. All those places out there are like super expensive. Even Austin for a long time was very affordable. That's where I'm at. I'm in Austin, Texas. And it was really affordable. And then we had this huge boom in our economy, and everybody from California, from New York, just started moving to Austin by the thousands. Houses got inflated, and artificial inflation, and just yeah, it was very. It became went from a very small, quirky town. Yeah, their motto is "Keep Austin Weird." To something else, and I'm not a native Austinite, but a lot of Austinites are not as happy. But I'm not native, so I moved to Austin for a job. All right. So yeah, now it kind of feels like she's struggling. Even though there's all that motion on her arm because she was just flailing about. Now she's kind of like locked on there with her hand, and her elbow's just flailing about. Yeah, I absolutely have acted in mocap suits. If you ever play Duke Nukem Forever, I was quite a few characters in that game. We had a very small system. That was, like I said, that was my introduction into motion capture. We bought a system, captured. I learned Viacon. I learned Blade. Blade was brand new at the time. Don't say Duke Nukem Forever. Well, well. Yes. I worked on Duke Nukem Forever. Sorry. In fact, if you go to my YouTube channel, I believe I still have my infamous Duke Nukem demo reel that leaked way back in the day and went viral. It was my 15 minutes of fame. Man, if I had $1 for every hit that I got on my website when 3D Realms closed and my demo reel went viral, oh my god, that'd have been like $56,000 in one day. Oh, why wasn't Twitch around? I was going to say in the millions. Well, it was my website got 52,000 hits. On game, I want to say it was Game Trailers. Somebody called Shadow something or other leaked it to Game Trailers. And that was at 1.5 million hits before I stopped paying attention. And then there's a couple of YouTube where people put it up on YouTube. And a couple of those were in... One or two of those were in the millions, and there's others that were in the hundreds of thousands. I know, why didn't I have a YouTube page back then, right? I could have just put it up myself. Yeah, I know, man. It was a Google hack too, so I could see what people were searching for on my website. Right, I have access to all that metadata, and it says, "Oh, the most common searches are this." And I could see people are using Google hacks to kind of get around security because that was kind of a thing back then. We're talking 2009, by the way. September of, I want to say, was it September? Something around that. August, July. It was sometime summertime and, yeah, summertime-ish. Yeah, you know what's even worse is everybody who stole it and reposted it didn't take out my bumpers. Remember I said put your information on your demo reel? Guess what was on my demo reel? Phone number, address. I had people calling me up, asking me about the game, trying to get builds. I'm like, sorry, dude. I can't give you anything. People call. Yeah. Is this Brian? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you gotta finish the game, man. You gotta. They were so excited. They just wanted the game. Should you have a number on your demo reel? Nowadays probably is not quite as necessary. I would go with an email. Email's probably perfectly sufficient. A website, LinkedIn profile. Definitely do all those. LinkedIn. Get a LinkedIn profile. Like everybody I know, even though they don't check it, has a LinkedIn profile. And I tell you what happens. The second company has to lay off a bunch of people, first thing they do is go run into their LinkedIn and update it. And start looking for recruiters and other jobs and people hiring. And that's how, that's one of my lead animators. He hit me up through LinkedIn. One of my senior animators hit me up through LinkedIn, and that's how he got his job at my studio. So yeah, feel free to cold call somebody. All right, so it's 9:38. This is obviously not a done animation. I've been like chit-chatting and stuff. Let me save this here. Let me go open up my other animation. So I'm coming to the end of my stream because it's getting late for me and I got an early day tomorrow. I gotta go make some more video games. I have to remember where I put the animation. That's not it. That's not it. Put this over here just because it's going into my Dropbox account. Oh, I don't remember the day. What day was this? Oh, campfire kill. Here we go. All right, so I'm opening it up now. When am I going to stream again? I'm gonna shoot for, or I'm gonna attempt to stream on Thursdays. I used to stream on Wednesdays, but with family and all the stuff that I have to do on Wednesdays now, it's just I can't get to the computer. So I'm gonna attempt Thursdays for this kind of tutorial type, but don't hold me to it. All right, so here is the original, and if you go and play Friday the 13th, this will be what the animation looks like. Oh, see, I had to grab it with her left hand. Look at that. Now I'm having her grab it with her right hand. The power of motion editing. What did I do with her legs? See how far out did I make those legs go? Oh, I left them out, didn't I? Ah. Oh, it's so funny. It was several years ago. It was like maybe 3 years ago when I did these. Maybe 4 years. Yeah, 4 years ago when I did these original animations. So what am I specifically doing if the mocap suit does the animation? So what I do, so you're not going to, what you want to try to do is you want to try to get the closest to the actual performance as possible. And what that requires is you to refine and fine tune the poses of the characters. It's also going to have to, you're also going to have to edit animations together. Sometimes you'll capture lots of takes in one animation. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 takes in order to get the animation that you want, because you can't do everything in one take. You don't want to kill your actor. So, gosh, you know, there's a lot of tutorials that I worked on where I kind of go over the whole motion editing and befores and afters. And if you go and you kind of watch my I did a little Q&A, so there's a little video I did right before I did this stream. I did a quick little mini stream, micro stream. I kind of show posing and taking one animation and turning it into another animation, sort of, so to speak. One pose to another pose using the same basic idle animation. With video games, which is a little bit different than movies, you have to make sure animations loop, so you're pasting poses on the front and the back. So you get this really quickly, you get really high fidelity animations really fast with motion capture. And then you have to make all those animations work together. So you're editing the motions in such a way that they flow in and out of each other. And you need to have strong pose controls in order to do that. And pose controls are right down here on the in Motionbuilder. So I wish I had more here, because I feel like that question is best answered with examples. But yeah, while you get the motion from the suits, all right, cool. Yeah, like I said, you're wanting more information. Hit up my YouTube page. Check out the different videos. Just go back in time. Start from the beginning. My really crummy videos with really crummy cameras and microphones, and just kind of work your way to up to date. I think I got like 15 or 16 videos up there in kind of a motion builder series. And I have to admit, my brain is fading. It's fading fast. So let's see. So any final questions before I sign off for the night? All right, man. You have or whoa, man, as the case may be. You have a good night as well. Hope to see you all next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.